Hello everyone, today is August 12th, 2010. Well, things are starting to kick back into gear again. We had 93,000 foreclosures in July. And from the graph that shows all the resets coming with the alt-A's and the interest-only loans and the pick-your-own payments, it's going to be bigger than the subprime. I did a video on it earlier. You can look for the video that I did on the housing market. But things are really starting to heat up now. And we're going to have a lot more foreclosures coming. And the big story now is the dollar. Just 2 days ago, we had Bernanke saying that he's going to start the quantitative easing, aka QE2, or the securitizing the debt. Basically, he's going to be buying treasuries from Geithner, who has a strong dollar policy. And so Mr. Bernanke, who says on June 24th that he's going to keep interest rates extremely low for an extended period of time, which is not in support of the dollar, and now printing up paper in order to buy 2 to 10 year long debt is not supporting the dollar. And he's going to be working with someone who supposedly has a strong dollar policy, and together they're going to start fixing this economy because we're starting to slip back into a recession. Well, we never came out of the recession. It was a total joke. And they can't print up jobs, so I guess it's time to start printing up money. I want to show you a few things here. The other day I was thinking about, I was looking here at my books that I've read, and I was thinking about what we've gone through and what we're headed towards. And here's the coming economic collapse, Crash Proof, which is Peter Schiff's book, 2.0. These books I read back in 2003. This was like '06. The whole housing mess is in this book that it talked about. And other things that haven't happened yet, like the dollar bubble that this book talks about. How to profit from the coming real estate bust and the coming crash in the housing market. I believe these were both copyright 2003. Let me see if you can see the copyright here. Well, you're not going to be able to see it, but it's 2003. And the other one's either '03 or '04. And so, I knew that was going to be coming. But now, here we have How to Prosper During the Coming Bad Years in the 21st Century, Howard Ruff. So now we have the demise of the dollar, the coming collapse, and how to profit from it, the coming collapse in the dollar, and the dollar meltdown. These books here, what these books talk about still hasn't really come to fruition yet. And either, this Crash Proof by Peter Schiff hasn't either. So we have the quantitative easing happening now. And, so that's going to put a lot of pressure on the dollar. We're going to, ultimately the dollar is going to collapse. There's nothing that they can do to stop it. We can't stop the dollar from collapsing. We got 40 million people on food stamps now that are going to be requesting money. They're going to have to print up money to solve the whole housing mess, which is years from being over. There's no possible way out of this. I mean, the jobs aren't coming back. We lost service sector jobs and the housing jobs. We don't need any more houses. We don't need those housing jobs, related jobs. We don't need the service sector jobs that were created because of so much borrowing and everyone had money, everyone had service sector jobs. Well, we don't need those jobs anymore because everyone needs to start saving and we need to go back to production. You can't fix the economy by borrowing and spending more money. We borrow and spend our way into this mess. You can't just borrow and spend more money in order to fix it. Anything that the government does is just sidestepping the inevitable, which is a total currency collapse. We're going to have that collapse. I hope everyone's starting to think about gold and silver. They're thinking about food supply and water and guns and ammo. I mean, that's where hopefully it doesn't happen, but you got to be prepared for anything that can come down, that could come down the pipe at you. There's no way out of this mess. All the production jobs, back in the 50s, there were 27, I believe, companies that made TVs in this country. Now there's 0. They're all made in Asian countries. Everything's produced in other countries, and we've been borrowing money in order to consume all that stuff. We had a consumer economy. Well, the consumer economy can't continue anymore. We can't just keep consuming and borrowing money. And we have the interest rates right now are near zero. They can't stay there. The dollar will collapse. I mean, if we're going to have a dollar collapse, well, they have to raise the interest rates to support the dollar. And once they start to raise interest rates, right now I think the interest is about $20 billion a month. It's, which is really low. It's been higher. It's been $30 billion a month in past years. It's like $20 billion a month in interest payments. So the interest rate is really low right now. So they're able to handle this debt. But once they raise the interest rates, which is going to happen, they don't just stay near zero forever. I mean, they have to raise the interest rates to support the dollar. No, I think maybe that China, they're not going to be lending us any more money unless we raise interest rates. So the Fed doesn't want to raise interest rates. They'll kill any type of recovery we could have. So they're going to start monetizing the debt and start printing up money. Buying our own debt because we can't sell it anymore to foreigners. So if we have to raise the interest rates in order to sell it to them, what happens when you raise the interest rates? The $300 billion a year in interest on our $13.3 trillion debt, it starts moving up. $400, $600 trillion in interest. Then we just have to print up more money. So it's just it's going to be a total printing game, and it doesn't look good at this point. I mean, I'm so serious about the preparing for the worst. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but we just have to start preparing for the worst. And just hope for the best, but you got to prepare for the worst. Things are not looking good at all. So there it is. There. I mean, leave you on a positive note. I mean, at least this quantitative easing that they're going to be doing should drive interest rates, like on a 30-year fixed home loan, should drive them down near 4%. I mean, so if you have anything above 5%, you should be able to refinance again. And that's the one good side about it. Hopefully you can get a 4-year, 30-year fixed loan, a 4% 30-year fixed loan. So, there is something at least positive to look at in it, but it's not positive. I mean, we're doing everything the opposite of what we need to be doing. We borrowed and spent too much money, so now we need to start saving and producing. And that's not what we're being encouraged to borrow and spend more money. With the $8,000 for buying a house and the cash for clunkers and all that, we're just being encouraged to borrow and spend more money. That's what they have to do in order to keep this propped up. Washington they have to push that. They have to pull that line. You have to keep borrowing and spending, otherwise it's going to collapse. But the longer we keep putting it off, the collapse, it's just going to be that much worse in the end. I mean, yeah, if we started doing all the things we needed to do in '08, when we had the credit crisis, things would have got really bad. We'd have civil unrest, we'd have this and that. But all that stuff's just going to be worse when we finally get to it. So, home protection should be, right up there near the top of on everyone's list. Food and water and guns and ammo. I mean, all the things to be able to sustain yourself if things really get out of hand, which is what they're going to be doing to the dollar here. The dollar should be continuing its decline that it's been doing for the last 10 years. We had this last 6 months, it went up because of people jumping back into the dollar with the Greece problem that we had. But it should be able to continue back down. Now, especially with printing more money, the dollar should return to its slide that it's been having. So that's it for now. I'll hopefully make another video soon.